All right, excuse me. Give me a minute here while I raise my pressure up on my airbrush. I had it down to about 10 psi. So let me explain what I'm about to do here. Let me see if I can move this out of my way so I'm not bumping it with my head. I'm doing a NY3D Creations Yodalorian. Now, I'm going to be using this head because this is going to my grandson and he wants this head on there. But I'm also going to paint this just in case, so he can keep off to the side if he wants to swap them out. So, I had a lot of you guys asking me about, excuse me, I'm knocking stuff over here all over the place. So, give me a second while I get everything set up here. Sorry about that. I have a lot of guys, they ask me, they want to see my process on how I do, not necessarily a green skin tone, but my process on what I use. And I'm going to show you guys real quick. Now, I want to make this, very rarely do you guys see me airbrush on camera or paint on camera, and there's reasons for that. My reason is I usually have music playing in the background, and I like to get lost in what I'm doing. So as you see here, I'm getting the inks that I'm going to be most likely using. This is a phthalo green, which is a blue shade. This is a wild lime green, which I may or may not use. I don't know yet. Still thinking about it. I love the shade of it. And my favorite that I use all the time with green is yellow. You can tell from the bottle, this is almost empty. I need to get a new one. The other paints I'm going to be using, my black Stynylrez, a skin tone Stynylrez, some white. I'm going to be lightening this up. So I'll be using some of that. I will be using probably these two greens. Maybe not. It all depends on how I'm working. But this is my favorite right here, which is it's called Escorpina green. Escorpina green. It's from Vallejo Game Air. It's 72.732 for those of you that would like to know the number. 72.732. That's the Game Air. I like game color, but this is a really nice game. This is the green I have. Citadel shades. Drakenhof Nightshade. I may use that. Most likely I'll use that other than the phthalo green. Caribou Crimson. May use that other than red. A red shade because I like the crimson color of it. And Waywatcher green. I may use where's it at? I may use, and I've used it before on my other one. If I can reach back here and grab it, if you forgive me for a second here. Where did I put it? Oh, here it is. Badgers, Ghost Tint Magenta. So just because I have all these laid out in front of me there, all of this doesn't mean I'm going to use all of that. It's just my options on what I have to work with. So if I decide to do it, then I'll use them. If I decide not, it all depends on how it's coming along. So this is my best friend right here. So here we go. I'm gonna prime the ears and him in black. Now the reason I do it in black is because it'll be apparent in a minute. I'm using my Badger Patriot 105. It's got the big 0.5 needle in there. And again, like I said, there's Badger Stylorist in this. I'm at almost 40 PSI, 35 PSI. I don't want a lot of it in here, so that should be more than enough for what I need. But we'll see. Now let me get these ears here done first. So as you see, I don't care if it gets all over here, because this whole thing's going to be primed in black. But let me do him first, this guy here first. So we're going to get the underside, which you'll never see, but I always prime anyway. And then we'll come in and just prime the head. I don't want a lot of it on there because there's going to be another primer on top of this. I just want to cover it so I can see. There's another reason why I use black. I went in and did some sanding on this, and I want to make sure that I don't see any of the lines, which so far so good. I don't see them. There's a little bit on the top there, but we're going to deal with that in a minute. So let me hit this guy real quick. Again, I'm not too concerned about how this guy's going to come out, because this is not really going to get used. This one will be. So I'm going to hit this one with an automotive primer filler. I've already did all the sanding on it. Let's see. Now I'll take my blow dryer. Drop the lid for the Stylorist. All right, I just noticed the good thing about black primer is you start seeing things that you missed, like here, which is very easy to take care of. I just do that. Take one of these little UMP buffers, come in there, do that. Come up here. I got a little bit here that needs to be worked out. Real quick, go in here. I got most of it. I mean, just right here where I didn't want to lose that texture. Now again, I could be using the automotive primer filler for this, but for my purposes, for what I'm doing here, I just want to show you guys how I do this. So there's going to be a couple of steps that you could take that I'm not taking. Okay, that's sanded. Now I'll come in. And just lightly dust that. And we're good to go. Come over here to the ear where I missed a spot there. Again, a lot of this is going to be covered up with the other color that I'm going to lay down in a minute. So there we go. He's primed. Let me cover this up. And again, like I said, I'm not worried about this head. That's going to be a totally different animal. So let me clear out this airbrush. I'm going to clean it out with a little bit of my Jesus juice. Whoop. Put a little squirt in there. Got a paper towel here. Now I'm going to let that sit for a second because I forgot something. Let me get this out of the way before I cut myself. Let me move these out of the way. I need a couple of mixing cups. I want to mix this flesh tone, but I don't want to mix it in the airbrush. Normally I would, but being Stynylrez, I want to do it outside of the airbrush. So you can get these on Amazon. I use them a lot. Get back to clearing out my airbrush. Let me clean this out real fast. Just make sure there's nothing left in there. I don't want that black in there. I'll do a quick backwash. Shoot that right into the hillbilly spray booth. Go in there, wipe it down. And just make sure that I don't have any of that black in there because I don't want it to contaminate what I'm about to do. Now we're going to use more than one airbrush here, guys. So there it is. I got it cleaned out. Now, I'm going to use a little bit of a flesh tone here. Let's see what we got here. We have Billy Ray, Mickey, hey, Mick, Dominic. What's going on, brother? Josh. Josh says he's got his dinner. He's watching along. My brother Joe McClaskman, how you doing, bro? All right, so I've got a flesh tone here. You can use any flesh tone you want. I really like the Stynylrez flesh tone. So I'm going to put, I don't know. That should be more than enough right there. It's about 6-7 drops in there. And then I'm going to put just a little bloop of white into it. I have here a Vallejo thinner. This is not being used as a traditional primer. It's being used just to tint around certain things. So now I got a little on my hands here. I want to make sure that this, whatever's on my gloves, does not contaminate when I'm painting. So I got a little bit of that paint when I went to clear that nozzle off. Okay. So now I'll drop 2, maybe 3 bloops in there. And then I'm going to mix it. I want to lighten that up. I mean, that should be fine. Maybe a little bit more. Maybe a couple more drops. 3 more drops. So there's 6 drops in there. There's like, it's about a 50-50 mix. I want it light. And you'll see why in a minute. All right. There it is. I got it mixed. Now I'm going to add, I always use either the Vallejo or the Badger thinner. I don't have any more Badger thinner, but this is my go-to. It's the Vallejo. People ask me how come I don't use water. I find that water sometimes separates the pigment, whereas if you use a good cleaner or thinner, it will not. All right, so here we go. We're going to drop that in the airbrush. Make sure I got a good stream going here. And now I'm just going to go in. Whoop, it's too high. Let me drop the air pressure. Okay, I want to get down to about 20. Where are we at? All right, I'm about 20 PSI, guys. So now I'm going to very carefully, as you see what I'm doing in there, getting it in the ear, because you want that flesh tone in the ear. Very carefully get some in this side. Make sure it's not building up on the tip. Put that right in there like so. Come back to this side, darken it up just a scotch more. Add a little bit more in here. I want right on this cheekbone there. A little bit. This damn thing. I don't know about you guys, but if you got one of those little airbrush compressors and you don't have that damn thing tied down, it's got a tendency of walking all over the place. All right, see, now we're going to get a little bit more here on the cheeks. on the highbrow right here, on his nose, his lip, his eyebrows. Don't worry about getting a little overspray. You're going to clean all that up. And then let's see, where else? Where else? Okay. Now let's work back here. So I want a little bit here, a little bit there. It's spitting. Damn it. Fucking humidity here. All right, here we go. Got that. A little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit on here. Just some high points. I don't want a lot of this. On the top of his ear here. On the other side here. A little bit there. Right there. Now I went heavy there for a reason, and you'll see why. I'll clean that out because I'm not going to be using this airbrush no more. So that airbrush is done. I can, but I prefer to go in now with something a little finer, and I'll show you. So let's clear this out. I want to make sure that I just spent a lot of time cleaning these airbrushes. So let me go in here and make sure there's nothing in there. No filminess, no nothing. A little bit more in there just to make sure, because I'm not using this airbrush anymore today. So I want to make sure it's clean. All right, I think we got it. And I think we'll be done with this airbrush now. Just to make sure, I'm doing one more last blowback. See, just when you think you got it all out of there, you see that? All right. That one's done. All right, we're done with this airbrush. Let's cap that off. Let's get it off to the side here and go to our next one. My baby. Badger Sotar 2020. I'm going to run some cleaner through it, make sure I got a good stream. Make sure the needle is set right, because I cleaned it out the other day. I don't want any surprises. And there we go. Okay. Everything's ready for this one. Now we're going to start with the green. Now, like I said, I can go with this, which is the darker green, which is a moot green. Or I can start with this. Okay, let's try with this. Let's try this. Hey, Tommy. Yeah, I used the high pressure. Sorry about that. Let me go back here. Yeah, Dom, I used the high pressure was only for my primer. That's the only time I used. I raised it up to about 35, 40 PSI, and now I'm down to 20. And I'm going to lower it even lower as I go on with this. So before I start mixing up my paint, I want to make sure that this is all dry to the touch. Now, ideally, you want to wait, but I don't want to wait. So there's that. This has already been pre-mixed. This is Citadel. Like I said, it's the moot green. And then we have the blue. I'm gonna try something a little different, and let's see how it works out, guys. So you want to make sure that when you do that, you squirt out a little bit, make sure there's no boogers in that, like I just did there. Then I'm gonna add that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 drops in there, and then maybe I don't know. I'm gonna eyeball this. Boop. There's about maybe 3, 4 drops of thinner in it. Or like Justin Wilson, that old Cajun cook, used to say, just a little bit of onion, put a little bit of wine, just a little bit more wine, a little bit more wine. You can thin this any way you guys want. Now, you see what I'm doing just to make sure it mixes? I'm not sticking a damn brush in there to mix it around. I'm just a little backwashed. Good. Make sure I got a good flow. Here we go. Now, and just gently start layering it down. Just very carefully. You don't want to add too much too quick. You just want to go nice and gentle. You see how it's tinting that flesh tone around the cheeks now? See that? You want to do the same thing in here. Just a little bit, not a lot. You want to get the corners of the ears. I got to get a light in here. All right. Just like so. You want to be very careful how you lay it down. You don't want to be too heavy on the hand there. Just slowly build that up, guys. See, even this is too high of a pressure. So what I'm going to do is take my valve here, run it all the way down, press, and there we go. I got very little coming out now. So I'm just like almost non-existent on air coming out now. It's just coming out very. I didn't change the pressure. I just used my Mac valve on the bottom to choke off some of the air. You still got the same pressure. You just got very little air coming out. All right. So this is the darker green that got laid down. As you can see. I'm going to get in there. Get right about his eyes here. I don't want to miss that. And up underneath here, where it's a little darker. Come up here. Now you can still see the highlights. You see that, guys? You can still see the highlights. That's going to come in handy in a minute. All right, let me clear this out. Open this back up so I can get some air through it. Clear the airbrush out. All right. Get that green out of there. Not really going to hurt anything with what I'm about to do anyway. All right. Now I'm going to take a little bit of the Drakenhof Nightshade. Just a very little, guys. And before I do that, let me make sure I get most of this green out of here. I don't want to mix it with that blue. And then you'll get a really ugly goddamn color there. All right, let me get this out of there. All All right, that's out of there. All right, I just wanted to make sure that when I put this in there, it doesn't mix. And then I got some. It's one thing to lay a color on top of something. It's another to mix it all in here. All right, now I'm going to take this. Now I've told guys a lot of times this is my favorite for shadows. I'm not going to use a lot of it. There's 3 drops of this in there. I'll probably come back to this later. There's my stream. I'm choking off the air again with the Mac valve. Okay. And then I'm going to come in like up underneath here. And there's a little bit of that blue right in there. Get up underneath that ear there, right in there. Come over here, right there. Inside, a little shot in there. His eyeball here. Just layering it in there. See what's happening? It's giving him a shadow. Now it's not going to stay that dark, guys. Right around here, around his ear, right around the other ear, the back of his head, around here. Anywhere you think there's a shadow, just very carefully layer this down. Very carefully. Right up underneath that cheek, just to give him a little definition there, right in there. All right, that's all you need. You don't need a lot. See that? All right, let me clear the airbrush out. Make sure I get all that blue out of there. I don't want to mix it with the green I'm about to lay down again. So now I'm going to take some of this very light green. I mean, this is almost like, look at that, compared to what I laid down before. See that? I could have used that with some white in it. It is what it is. All right. Now with this, I'm going to do, let me get my airbrush together here. Boop. I'm going to mix this in the cup. So 1, 2, 3. There's 3 drops there. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 drops there. All right. Okay, here we go. Now I'm going to add this lighter green in here. Just to bring those colors together. Add a little bit of that here, the crown. towards the back here. A little bit there. Top of his ear here. I want that brighter than everything else. Come in on that eyebrow. Right here on his brow. A little bit up underneath here just to give it a little bit more punch. Come back over here again. And then I'm going to step back and just brush the whole thing over. Right inside his face here. Just a little. I want that eyelid there. That one there. See that? All right. Now, it's still a little tacky. Josh, very lightly. I don't know if you can see that. Let me see if I can get this done. You see that? Very lightly, I covered it just enough, but you can still see that blue through there. So no, I left the shadows on there, but very gently, very lightly did I cover them up. Now give me a second here, guys. Let me clean my airbrush out again. It takes more time for me to clear the airbrush. Now I can do this. It usually takes me a little longer, guys. So forgive me. I'm rushing through it. I don't want to bore you guys with it. So, but here comes my how I unify all those colors together. Now you have the black, the flesh tone with the white, the darker green, the lighter green. And now I'm going to unify those. Oh, the Drakenhof Nightshade. I was going to use the Phthalo blue or Phthalo green, but I decided to use this. This is my secret weapon, guys. If you guys are doing figures and doing shades and stuff, get you some of this Drakenhof Nightshade from Citadel. It does not come in a bottle like this here, but I'll tell you what, this is something you should be keeping in your arsenal. Okay, now here comes the cool part for me. Everybody knows me, that watches me. They know I love using paint inks. Hey, Lou, how you doing? Okay, let me go back. Now, what I'm going to be using, this is the secret weapon, guys, for green. At least for me, it is, and I'll show you why. And the one I have here is the where's it at? The cadmium yellow, light hue. So any regular yellow just won't do. It's got to be the cadmium yellow. It's got that really beautiful glow to it. Now, again, see this? I'm knocking I close it all the way off. There's no air, and just half a quarter turn, another quarter turn, and it's just barely coming out. You see that? So now what I do with this is I start layering that yellow over it. You see that? You see what just happened there? You guys need to try this. I'm serious. I get people like, man, you don't want to show no how you do things, then you're not going to make any money. Dude, I don't care. Anybody that knows me knows I don't have any tricks. I show everybody what I do. It's up to you to do it. Not up to me. It's up to you. Wait till you see this, guys. I don't know if you can see that beautiful hue coming through there right now. Especially right around his cheeks and his eyes. Now let's get that furrow there. Make sure I step back a little bit. Give it all like a nice wash the whole thing. Look at that. What do you think? We're not done. Let me clear my airbrush out. There's a lot of that happening, guys, as you can tell. But I used most of that anyway. So I'm just going to make sure that I don't have any yellow in my airbrush because I don't want it mixing with the red in the cup. It's one thing to layer it. Like I said, it's another thing if it mixes with that color. Then you're in trouble, you know. Then you got it just looks like muddy shit, you know. Or the color is not what you wanted. All right, what I'm doing here is I'm just clearing out my airbrush. I just want to make sure there's nothing in it. Now, I'm not going to shoot that ink on that just like this here. So give me a second. I'm going to go put a dull coat on this, and I'll be right back. Just give me a second. Talk amongst yourselves. Have a drink. I'm just going to put a real quick coat, a dull coat on this, and then I'm going to hit it with the blow dryer. I want to seal this in. I don't want to lose what I've already done. There. Got to coat a dull coat on it. I'm going to hit it with the blow dryer. Make sure that I got it as dry as I could possibly get it. Now look at the nice tones in that, guys, so far. You see that? You see the tones in that? So now what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to use the crimson, the Caribou Crimson. Let me see. Yeah, I think let's use that. All right. So I got a couple of drops on here. I want to see how that looks when I shoot it out. It looks good on a smaller one, but let's see what it looks like if I shoot it out. Okay, here we go. Again, choke down on this, a quarter turn, There we go. Now, just very gently, I'm going to lay in the red. And I'm going over just a little bit where the blue was, but you can still see the shadow there. So this is giving him more of a tonal variation. You see that on the top of his head? I don't want a lot of it in there. Just a little bit here and there. I don't want to blow up that green that I've already done. And then right here in the ear. Come up a little bit more right around that eye. Underneath his eye. A little shot there on the lip, the bottom lip. That'll be cleaned up. Don't worry about it. So now we do that. Clean this out a little bit. Get that out of the airbrush. I may go a little more redder than that. I don't know yet. Now I want to put a little bit more green in that, lighter. So I'm just going to mix up just a very, very little bit of this. 1 drop, 2 drops, 1 drop, 2 drops. Actually 3. One other one escaped out of there. It escaped. Ah, shit. Let me get a little bit more. There we go. This is almost ink thin. Yeah, this is pretty thin. Let me go a little, raise up my air pressure, my Mac valve a little bit. And now what I'm doing is I'm blending that red in now with the green. Especially around the face here. There it is right there. I don't want to go too heavy on it. All I wanted to do was go in there, pop a couple of those highlights up, like here. Make sure I hit this with a blow dryer in a second here, so I don't lose what I got on here. Where's my, whoop, wrong thing. All right. Get that cleared out of my airbrush. Let this sit for a second. All right. Any questions? Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. It's the Grex Mac valve. That's the Grex Mac valve. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't see that comment. I'm sorry. This a lot of guys, you could keep your pressure. Right now mine is at 20 psi. But if you got a Mac valve, it does a lot of, it's beautiful, man. It works really great. All right, I'm going to use a drop or two of this. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to add a drop of this into it just to cut it. This gives me a different type of red. Clean my nozzle out, make sure I don't have all kinds of shit in it. Again, now I'm going to crank my Mac valve down just a scotch. And there we go. Now I'm going to take that red and then right in his ears. There. There. Just to give it a little bit of a punch. Here. Here. Get it inside that ear. A little bit back here. A little bit of his crown there just to give him some texture on his head. A little bit around there. There he is. All right, let me clean this airbrush out. And we're going to seal that. But not before I do add another little couple of drops of yellow onto that. Now that I've got all the colors that I'm going to use on it. Now, guys, you can do this any way you want. You don't have to do it my way. I mean, airbrushing and color is the way you guys want to do it. I'm not telling you how to do it. I'm just showing you how I do it. So we're done with the paint. Take a little bit more of this. Very little. You don't need a lot. You see, there's just very little in there. Make sure I got a good stream. Come back to his highlight on his cheek, right around his eye, right over the top crown of his head, top of his ears, back of his head, tip of his ears, eyebrow, eyelid, lip, bottom lip, brow. take my my dollar store hair dryer. One more thing. In order to really get the effect that you're seeing here, his eyes are not painted. And in order for you to really see the color, I'm going to really quickly do is just some eyes, paint right over the eyes real quick. Yeah, I'm going to go here. Before I do that, let me answer a couple of these questions. I'm sorry, guys. I get into my world here and I don't answer the questions. And Mickey Geraci, Dominic, he asks, I didn't know you shoot at such high pressure. Is that a gravity-fed brush? Yes, they're both gravity-fed. The only time I shoot at a high pressure like that, Dominic, is when I am shooting a primer. Everything else goes down to 20, 15, 20 psi. When I'm shooting Badger Stylo resin, if it's not cut, if I don't thin it, then that's what I'm shooting at, bro. Let's see who else we got here. Terry Wright, how you doing, brother? And yeah, and like you said, guess the high pressure was for the primer only. Yes, sir. We got Tommy Eversandal. Let's see. Josh says, I really got to learn color theory. I need a Mac valve. Yes, you do, brother. Yes, you do. They're very. I prefer mine on the hose instead of on the airbrush. Everybody has their own. Some people. I've got a couple of airbrushes where they're on the airbrush. I don't like them on the airbrush. I like it on the hose. Thanks, Josh. Josh says, really good, dude. He says, what's up, everybody? Dominic says he can't drink. He's at work. Learning how to, Lewis Matt Paps. He says he's learning how to airbrush. So is Josh. Again, we addressed the Mac valve. Tommy says he just added it to his Guild Shopping Network list. Joshua says we have not gotten to the Guild Shopping Network yet. I thought you had one, Tommy. Yeah, it's very subtle. Now, okay, guys. Now that I've gotten all that done, I want to show you once the eyes are in there, and then I get some, I put some light on this. I mean, it's all gonna pop, guys. So let me get a brush here. That's just Badger Stylo resin. Again, I'm not anticipating using this, but you never know. My grandson might want it. So here we're just going to very carefully block in the eyes with the black. And then once the eyes are blocked in, believe me, the colors are just going to jump out at you. So give me a minute here. I'm trying to do without my cheaters on, my super cheaters. I'm a blind son bitch. So I don't want to screw this up after going through all that, showing you guys what I was doing. Again with the blow dryer. Go in one more time, and just to make sure that I don't have any brush strokes. There he is, gentlemen. There he is. Little Jesus juice in this cup here. Clean my brush out. I'm going to show you guys a brush that I think you guys should get. You can get it at Hobby Lobby with your 40% coupon. And it's probably one of the best brushes I've ever owned. I just picked it up a couple weeks ago. Then I'm going to go get me some more. This is a Princeton Summit, a number 2 round. Princeton Summit 6850 R as in Robert. Synthetic brush. Look at the tip on that thing. Poke your eyeball out with it. Damn good paintbrush. All right, let me show you. We'll see the finished product. Well, I'm going to come down and see if this doesn't screw up on me. Get a little light, a little bit more light on this. There he is, guys. Yeah. Let me go this way. You see the top of his skull. There's the back. There's his ears. Now, I'll probably go back in there and add a little bit more ink here, work a little bit more in the front there. But for the most part, he's done. Look at that. That's it. That, my friends, is how easy it is to paint that. It's not hard, guys. It really isn't, you know. I hope this helped. If there's any questions, man, just please. I mean, I'll be more than happy to answer them for you guys. But that's it, guys. I hope that helped you guys out. You know, you can do that with there's different. I do this with all kinds of skin tones, not just green. It's, you know, I build up my, if I'm doing a Caucasian skin, I'm usually either doing a rust color primer, a brown, a red, sometimes green, sometimes black. It all depends on what the color I want. And then what you just saw me here, layering the colors over that, the way I do it. You don't need a lot of colors, man. It's not rocket science. You don't have to do the bam, zoom, wow, super Chinese hacks, all that shit. You just saw me do it. If I can do it, you guys can do it. So, you know, if there's anything you guys would like to see, you know, just let me know. I'd be more than happy to show you guys, you know, my processes. I have no secrets, you know. This is how I do it. Very rarely, though, do I paint on camera. And I said why, you know, it's mostly not because I don't want to show you guys what I'm doing. It's because I get lost in, I have the radio going, I get lost in music, you know, and then before I'm done, before I know it, I'm finished. Now, like I said, I'm going to go back over this. I'll probably lighten up a shade here, a shade there. But guys, you can do this. You can do this. So you know what? Thank you for watching. You know, if you want to share this video, by all means, share it, man. If you got any questions, if there's anything I can do to help you guys, drop me a line, you know, drop me a comment, drop me a DM on my Facebook Messenger. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you guys may have. Until then, this is Gilbert, Red Dragon Model Works, Styrene Syndicate, Old Smog himself, saying peace. And I hope this was a little informative and instructive for you guys. You guys have a good one, man. Ciao.